Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. You're listening to the Ask Dr. Ernst show. I'm your host, Dr. Aaron Ernst, and today we have such an incredible topic. I'm talking about a condition that affects 40% of Americans over the age of 60, and it's called metabolic syndrome. Guys, I hate to say this. This is what you have. This is the cause of all causes. This is the condition that if we don't address this, sets you up for things like obesity, diabetes, high triglycerides, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. Have you ever wondered why all the labs are always high? Like, when's the last time you went to your doctor and they said, hey, listen, we got to lower your blood sugar, lower your cholesterols, lower. They're always saying that. They're never, ever saying we need to raise your cholesterol, raise your blood sugars, because metabolic syndrome is the reason for so many elevations. My name is Dr. Aaron Ernst. This is the Ask Dr. Ernst show. It's a show where pounds are shed, disease is dead, and where you can be set free from your health issues when you become your own doctor. Our show exists for one simple reason: to teach you and educate you on what big pharma, medicine, the government, whoever you want to call it, doesn't want you to know about your health. Because if you became active in the equation of healing, you could heal yourself. And guess what? That is the truth. You can heal yourself. It can be done. But you have to learn more about your body. Unfortunately, all these years that I've been in practice. So I am a chiropractor by trade. I'm a doctor of natural medicine by license. I'm a doctorate of humanitarian services. I have a pastoral medical degree. What this means is I can teach you and coach you and guide you to learning more about your body so that you elevate your knowledge to that of a doctor in yourself and you heal yourself. So in this process, you have to learn it's your responsibility. No one is going to come up and run a TV ad on whatever channel you watch and say, hey, you sitting there on the sofa, did you know that metabolic syndrome is the number one reason for elevated blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, and pressure, and that there's a high chance you have it, and you should do the following? They're never going to do this. Instead, those commercials are going to say, ask your doctor if blah, blah, blah medication is right for you. And isn't it funny how all the commercials today are about like psoriasis and skin issues, asthma? I even saw one the other day. You ready for this? It was about having red eyes, like, too many bloodshot eyes, and a brand new dropper that you can put in your eye that clears your eyes, makes the whites super white, and makes your eyes look beautiful and healthy. What if instead you figure out why your eyes are so bloodshot? Stop staying out so late, stop drinking like crazy, and clean your liver out. Again, this is just me. Am I a functional physician? Yes. Am I licensed and certified in the state of North Carolina? Yes. Can I take care of patients physically in a clinic that we host here in the Charlotte area? Yes. Are we expanding and starting to build new clinics so we're serving not just the north but the south part of the city? Yes. The question is do you want to become a member in an education program that's free? Like, how much does it cost you to listen to me right now? I mean, do you guys remember? Like, I've been around for some time. Back in the day, a cassette, like you'd have to buy a cassette tape to listen to music or a lecture. And they'd be $10 or $15. Well, then cassettes died out. And then we came out with CDs. And I mean, my God, heaven forbid, who's seen a CD cassette case, right? And we don't even have them anymore. Like the computer that I'm broadcasting this on today doesn't even have a CD DVD drive because everything now is cloud stored. I mean, think about the technology. That camera right there can send my info into your ears for free, except I had to pay for all this stuff, which is totally fine for me, but it's all free for you. Like, how cool is that? Today, you're going to learn a condition that affects 40% of Americans over the age of 60, and it is a high likelihood that you have this right now. It's called metabolic syndrome. And what the heck is this? Okay, so it is sometimes also called dysmetabolic syndrome, which simply means your metabolism isn't working. Syndrome X is another term for it. Insulin resistance syndrome or type 2 diabetes is another term for it, or metabolic mitochondrial disease. Okay, these are all the names. They mean the same thing. What is it? Okay, well, it's a term used to define anyone who's overweight and has at least 3 of the following: elevated triglycerides, elevated blood sugars, elevated blood pressure, elevated cholesterols. If you have 3 or more, if you're overweight with high blood pressure and high cholesterol, boom, you just tested positive for metabolic syndrome. If you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and high blood sugar, but you're of normal weight, boom, do you guys see it? If you click 3 of any of those, and what are they again? Having too much weight listed as obesity, which means you have more than 40% body fat by volume, high triglycerides, high blood sugar, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or low LDL, meaning you don't have enough good. Those are the diagnostic criteria for this. So here's what I'm saying. I've been in practice now 16 years. Nearly, 80 to 90% of patients that walk in our doors needing help have metabolic syndrome. But their doctors don't really define it as that because there is no pill to give for the whole syndrome. In medicine, they have pills for weight loss. They have pills for high sugars. They have pills for high triglycerides now. They even have pills for high cholesterol. So if you were to look at it, if you have a condition that you're taking a medication for blood sugars, blood pressure, cholesterols, etc., you just need to wake up and realize you don't actually have that problem. You have the global issue of a metabolic disorder called metabolic syndrome, syndrome X, or metabolic mitochondrial disease. Okay? Here's what this means. Your body is losing the ability to, in a healthy way, make energy, breaking down sugars and fats and proteins into energy. Then insulin starts to freak out and your glucose levels start to go up. And if you experience insulin resistance, you're going to be diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic. We're at the very end. This is the last episode of our Diabetes Heal Thyself series that we've been running for the last 4 or 5 weeks. We've been giving away this ebook that I'm holding up for our live streamers, Diabetes Heal Thyself. It's an incredible book. It is free. You just have to take action. And look, if you want to get this stuff, if you want to get the podcast, if you want to get the ebook, and if you want to join me next Saturday for our webinar on Diabetes Heal Thyself, just pick up your phone. Okay, it's super easy. 704-906-2094. It's the call number for our show, the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. You can text it if you want. So again, 704-906-2094. But when you text, send over your name, first and last, and your email. Last week, we got a ton of texts, but guess what? It would say like ebook. And so again, my team is really good. They're going to send you a response. We need your name. We need your email. But it makes sense, doesn't it? An electronic book, we need more than just your text. If you want to call them, I have a call center. They're just sitting there right now. They're waiting for your call. So maybe wake them up. Make sure it works. Just do it for a test. Hey, I'm calling in just to make sure there's a call center. 704-906-2094. And you get the ebook. It's called Diabetes Heal Thyself. It's a complete guide, recipes, protocols, tests, all the steps that you need to solve this thing called metabolic syndrome. And more importantly, there's herbs and vitamins and nutrients listed in here that some of our listeners have said have dropped their blood sugars drastically to the point where they're starting to heal already. So if you're a diabetic, if you know someone that's diabetic, or you struggle with sugar addictions, 704-906-2094. The ebook is yours for free. And see, there's some people texting and calling in now. So for fear of missing out, as this is the last Saturday that I'm going to be talking about how to fix diabetes for now, just call now, 704-906-2094. Okay, what is it that sets you up for risk of having this condition, this thing called metabolic syndrome? And what is exactly metabolic syndrome? Okay, we talked about it before. Metabolic syndrome is the term for a group of conditions that are affecting you so that if you keep medicating it, you're never going to solve it, okay? If you have high blood sugar, high triglycerides, high cholesterol, that's metabolic syndrome. If you have high blood sugar, high cholesterol, and you're overweight, that's metabolic syndrome. If you have high cholesterol, high triglycerides, and you need to lose weight, do you see it? So it's just you pick any three. If you're overweight, your triglycerides are high, your sugars are high, your pressure is high, your cholesterol is high, or your HDL is low, any three of those, if you go, yeah, I've got those three, boom, metabolic syndrome. There was a study done in 2017 that showed that if you were to just measure the average person going to a lab, like envision this, okay? You go to your medical doctor and they say, hey, we need to run labs. The average American, 80% likelihood that they would fail a metabolic screening. Now, this should wake you up because metabolic disease, when ill managed, leads to heart disease, cancer, diabetes, neurodegenerative disorders, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So these aren't tiny things, guys. These are huge conditions. So metabolic syndrome, unfortunately, is usually asymptomatic. It's not like you're going to wake up and be like, oh my God, today I feel like I have metabolic syndrome. No, you're never going to do that. You can't feel your blood sugars. You can't feel your blood pressure. You can sometimes feel your weight. Oh, I need to lose weight. But, unfortunately, a lot of us we disconnect them all. Oh, well, my sugar is high and that's no big deal because my diabetic doctor has that under control. Oh, well, my cholesterol is high, but no big deal. I'm taking a statin because my cardiologist put me on that. Oh, no big deal. My HDLs are off balance, but I'm a vegan now. And I'm good. So be really careful about separating your health conditions because they're all interconnected. They all mean something. And if you want to solve all of them, let's stop medicating, let's stop managing, and go to the root cause. Okay, so how do we get diagnosed? Okay, I want you to self-diagnose yourself, okay? Men, if your waist is more than a 40-inch waist, like if you wear a 42 or even a 40, if you need a belt that's 40 inches across, that's one click against metabolic syndrome. And ladies, if you're plus a 35, so if you've got a 35-inch belt, that's one click. If your triglycerides on your standard medical panel are over 150, click. If your HDL is less than 50 for women and 60 for men, which by the way, unfortunately almost everyone today is, click against metabolic syndrome. If your blood sugars are over 100 when fasting and your blood pressure is over 120 over 80, those are the diagnostic criteria. So you need to just ask yourself this question. Let's do a free in the car, at home, at work, wherever you are test. Do you need to lose more than 20 pounds? Just yes or no. Do you have blood values that you have elevations of sugar, cholesterol, or triglycerides? Is your blood pressure high? Are you taking a medication for anything? Thyroid, heart disease, diabetes, psoriasis? Are you on some sort of a medical plan where you go every month to said pharmacy and you get a bag that you have to take in the next 4 weeks? Metabolic syndrome. Okay, so now that we realize there's an extremely, and when I say extremely, I mean extremely high likelihood that you have this, your first step is downloading our free ebook. Does it say Diabetes Heal Thyself on the cover? Yeah, but it could also say Metabolic Syndrome Heal Thyself. It's the same thing. Remember, metabolic syndrome is also termed insulin resistance, also termed syndrome X, also termed mitochondrial metabolism disorder. And what does all this mean? You can't burn fat for energy. You can't burn sugar for energy. You've got a lot of metabolic waste products that are building up. And so you gain weight and your numbers go brrrr, and your doctor says, red alert, you're about to have, and you fill in the blank. Okay? What is it that really makes this happen? Okay, well, you know the old adage of Hey, Dr. Ernst, when I was 20, I could eat whatever I wanted and I never gained a pound. But now that I'm 40, I can't even eat healthy foods and I'm still gaining pounds. Metabolic syndrome. Okay? Think of your metabolism as kind of like someone who is an athlete. And how athletic is your metabolism? Some of you, your metabolism's been sitting on the sofa for the last 30 years, watching reruns and eating bonbons. I'm sorry, but I got to just say this. Your metabolism is technically a muscle that you got to work out. And the way you work your metabolism out is not by eating more food. It's not like, I just ate 300 pounds of food today. Look how strong my metabolism is. It's the opposite. There are foods that make your metabolism weak, and then there's foods that make it really strong. So I'm hoping you would be like, all right, let's learn how to make it strong. Well, guess what? You have to avoid everything that makes it weak. So the first step, 704-906-2094. Download the ebook. It's free. You just got to give us your email so we can send it to you. And you've got the diets, you've got the supplements, you've got the nutrients. Like I'm serious. We put hours upon hours into writing that ebook. And if you download the ebook, you get free access to my webinar next Saturday, right? It's the 17th. And guess what? It's going to help you to heal yourself. So I realize we're a little late in our broadcast. Thank you, football game. But hey, 4 o'clock comes around pretty quick, and it's now, almost 15 after the hour. We got 45 minutes, and guess what? I don't even need that much time. This is so simple and so easy. You're going to solve this all today. What is it that makes our metabolism so weak? Okay, number one, eating fake food. And I know what you're thinking, like, oh, Dr. Ernst, like, we gotta avoid things that are fake. Well, look, you shouldn't be eating plastics and metals and dyes and chemicals and all that stuff, right? So processed foods technically are fake. I had a patient once send me over this Instagram meme, and it was like the ingredients of a Beyond Meat. I'm not trying to slash this stuff, but just so you guys know, I find it so fascinating that all the vegetarians and vegans, they badmouth meat so much, but then they want to eat meat, so they make these meatless meats, which is just weird, isn't it? Like if you're truly a vegan, don't eat any meat. Like don't even eat meat that comes from peas and canola and soy and whatever else this stuff is made of. Anyway, they sent this meme over, and it was like, here's fake meat and here's real meat, and it was ingredients. And this one had like 62 ingredients, right? Expeller pressed canola oil with soy protein isolates and, beetroot extracts. And it's all made out of plants. 46 different plants came together to make this one thing that looks and smells and tastes like a hamburger. Then you saw the meat ingredients, and it was funny. It said meat, period. Steak, right? Like God knows how to make food that you should be eating. And last time I checked, there's no vegan meats just walking around that you slaughter, right? A real living cow has, fats and proteins and carbs and blood and all kinds of stuff inside of it because it's a living being. Now, you go and you take this hamburger that's not a hamburger and it's meat that's not meat, you eat it, it's fake. But Dr. Ernst, the peas, they're real, and the isolated soy protein, no. Isolated means we extracted something. Well, the expeller pressed, it means we pressed it through a centrifuge and we extracted oil that, yes, is in food, but not naturally found in that quantity, in that amount, inside that product. Frozen, bagged, and boxed foods are generally fake because they're loaded with additives and preservatives, etc. A 2015 study found that fast food consumption, some of the most unhealthy processed foods on the planet, increases the incidence of metabolic syndrome in both adults and kids. In addition, listen to this, research that was done in Brazil found that if you eat ultra-processed foods, and if it has more than 5 ingredients, it's ultra-processed, was associated with nearly a 100% correlation in metabolic syndrome in teenagers. This is huge, okay? Number 2, fake food's number 1, right? It's like if it's not real, it's going to weaken your metabolism. Number 2, artificial sweeteners, Splenda, aspartame, sucralose, saccharin, all this stuff, like the yellow, the pink, and the blue, all these fake sweeteners, okay, directly linked to an increased risk in metabolic syndrome. Part of the reason why is they're synthetically created. So they're chemicals that taste sweet. And, anytime you eat something chemical based, it can be turned into fat. So just in case you don't know this, if you eat something fake, fake, it turns into fat, fat. It's easy to remember. If it's fake, it'll become fat. Diet sodas, of course, contain a tremendous amount of all these artificial sweeteners and unhealthy ingredients. And did you know that these things are technically lethal? And here's what I mean by that. If they didn't have the phosphoric acid in it, your body is so smart, it would gag it up and choke it out and vomit it up. So if you took 12 ounces of your favorite carbonated beverage, you know what I'm talking about, I'm not going to name names, and you downed it, but they forgot to put the phosphoric acid in it somehow. Manufacturer's error, no phosphoric acid. There was a phosphoric acid deficiency. We're out of it. It's on back order. And the producers are like, just make it anyway. You would drink it and go, you would literally throw it up because it's so much sugar and so many chemicals, it would initiate a gag reflex. A 2009 study showed that if you consume one carbonated beverage a day, which sadly most people drink more than one because one is only 12 ounces, there was a 36% increased risk. And the average American's consumption of carbonated beverages led to a 67% increased risk. That's huge. So get rid of the fake food, get rid of the artificial sweeteners, and get rid of all these sodas and these diets and all this stuff. And you'll start to heal because your metabolism will be like, okay, finally you're not poisoning me and I can actually get back to working again. Refined carbohydrates and sugar. Look, there's never a show that goes by that I don't talk about sugar. And it's not that sugar itself is the enemy. It's just the amount that you eat is the enemy. Okay. Consumption of carbohydrates today is to the point where you barely even wake up and breathe and you've already had too many carbs. High blood sugar, insulin resistance, look at that. Can't even speak today. Yes, we are live, so let me try this again. High blood sugar, insulin resistance, the development of type 2 diabetes, and metabolic syndrome are all connected to the carbohydrate load you put through this thing called the engine of you. Now, here's where it gets crazy. Some people will say that you can have, 200, 300, 400 grams of carbs in a day and you'll be fine. Maybe if you're running New York marathons every day. The numbers I throw out shock most people. And it's weird because we're all duped into this idea that you can't live without sugar. Like, oh my God, your brain would shut down. And here's the sad reality. None of that is true. Your brain can work off ketones as an energy source if your sugars get too low to keep you functionally sound. So when all of you are like, oh, I'm crashing because I'm going hypoglycemic and I need my sweets. Nope, that's not what's happening. Instead, your insulin levels are actually coming down and your body's starting to turn itself back on and you're getting a reboot taking place. It's almost like coming off of cocaine. If you've ever watched someone detox from a drug that is illegal, I mean, it's full on, they're shaking and they're sweating like crazy and they're literally going through I'm going to die. It hurts. Alcohol, for example, if you ever watched a full-blown alcoholic go non-alcoholic, they go into shivers and quivers and transformative, they start yelling and screaming and all kinds of stuff because it's an addiction. And what they've discovered is that sugar and carbohydrates, this is grains, rice, corn, oats, they stimulate the same receptor in your brain as if you just took a drag of cocaine. And I'm not trying to be graphic, but I'm trying to make you aware. It is the same response to your brain, cocaine to sugar. And they've proven this with rats and mice and chickens and monkeys and even humans, okay? If you don't believe me, watch this, right? No bread, no dairy, no corn, no wheat, no rice, no oats, and no sugar. And most people are like, I'm going to die. There's no way I can make it. You're professing your addiction to that because there's plenty of people who have gone low to no sugar and they're still alive. In fact, they usually heal themselves by doing that. Watch out for the hidden sugars, guys. Fruit juice. Oh, my son, he drinks orange juice for the vitamin C. He's healthy. No, he's not. That's pure sugar. Apple juice. Oh my God, you might as well just pour sugar right in your mouth. Okay, so fruit juices, sports drinks, carbonated beverages, all this stuff spikes your blood sugar. And if you think it's okay for your kids to have a ton of sugar because they're kids, you're setting them up for metabolic syndrome. It'd be like, little Johnny here is going to end up being a drug addict, so let's just give him a little bit of cocaine right now anyway. We'll help him in the journey along this path. Look, all of us are obese generally in the United States. All of us have some sort of a health condition. Do you know the average American's taking 2.5 prescription drugs a day? That means you, right now, you're taking a pill for some sort of health issue that is actually a metabolic issue because nobody woke you up and shook you and went, yeah, stop doing what you're doing. It's not that hard, okay? Put the forks down, put the food down, and start thinking before you eat. Is this going to bring life? Or is it going to stimulate my taste buds? Is this going to help me to heal, or is it going to make me feel good? And I hate to say it, man, a lot of you are literally addicted to food. Here's a way, this is a fun fact, okay? Kind of off subjects, nowhere in my notes, but if you want to find out how addicted to food you are, find out how long you can go without eating food. Drink water, make sure you don't dehydrate, but try to go 24 hours with no food. And if you're like, oh, I'm so hungry, and all of a sudden all the voices in your head, Domino's and Pizza Hut and, whatever, all that stuff starts coming out and you salivate over a TV commercial. Oh, if I could just eat right now. I so want a cookie, a brownie, pasta, spaghetti, lasagna, whatever. There's your food addiction coming out. Go for 2 days, and what you'll find out is this is going to really come out. Now, here's what's really cool. You fast for 3 days. Most people are like, yeah, you know what? I'm really not that hungry anymore. And I feel pretty good. Like my joints feel great. My back feels good. My knees are bending like they've never bent before. My skin's clearing up. My eyes are getting wider. I'm getting youthful. I have more energy than I've ever had. Maybe I'll do this a 4th day. And you do a 4th day and it gets better. A 5th is even better. 6 is even better. 7 is on cloud 9. Some people have done this for 14 and 21. And guess what? Even 40 days. That requires medical supervision, just so you know, but you could easily do 7 to 10 to 14, and you're going to find out how addicted you are to food during that time frame, just so you know. Okay, the next one is tough, but it is your favorite beverages that you have on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The alcohol that many people consume leads to metabolic syndrome. In fact, it has been shown to be a key indicator. The amount of alcohol you drink on a regular basis determines your likelihood of having metabolic syndrome. Listen to this. The journal published Clinical Nutrition, okay, this is a peer-reviewed published journal, Clinical Nutrition, has this quote. So I'm going to read this to you. Very light alcohol consumption seems to be associated with a massive risk of metabolic syndrome. Very light. What do they recommend? You should have no more than 2 drinks a week. Men and women should have no more than 1 drink a week. And here's what a drink is defined as. 5 ounces of wine. Most of you drink almost 12 or 20 ounces. 1.5 ounces of a hard liquor, which is barely a full shot. And 12 ounces of beer. Now, most beers are 20 ounces. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? So 1 beer, 5 ounces of wine, an ounce and a half of hard liquor. That's going to be like your tequilas and your brandies and your whiskeys and your whatnots, the hard drinks. So if you have more than 1 or 2 of those a week, metabolic syndrome. And think about it. Alcohol, by definition, can raise your blood pressure. Did you guys know that? It's partly why you kind of feel a little weird when you drink because your blood pressure is going way up. You know why it has to go up? Because it has to push extra blood into your liver to get rid of the alcohol, which is a toxin by definition. And it also elevates your triglycerides and it elevates your cholesterol. You notice what are you hearing? Okay, blood pressure just went up, cholesterol went up, triglycerides went up, metabolic syndrome. Like the moment you have a drink, you're becoming metabolic syndrotic, if that's even a phrase. So we have to eliminate these weakeners, okay? This is like the stuff that makes your metabolism weak. Fake foods, artificial sweeteners, Carbonated beverages, especially the diet ones, because they have the artificial sweeteners in it. All the carbohydrates you consume, the grains, the rice, the corn, the oats, etc., fruit juices, sports drinks, alcohol. And I know what you're going like, oh, Dr. Aaron, what is there left? Like, what else can I have? You just took away all my food. Well, no, but that's why you have metabolic syndrome. So you can drink water. Yeah, but I hate water. Like, it's the most disgusting thing on this planet. Really? Like 70% of the planet is made out of water. And you don't think that your body should have water? You need to be 60% by volume water anyway. Not alcohol, not coffee, not tea. If you're 60% coffee by volume, you're dead. If you're 60% alcohol by volume, you died a long time ago. Water, guys. There is a reason that we thrive in a wet environment internally. It's the reason why we have fluids in us. Water is the greatest lubricant, the greatest metabolism stimulator. And if you don't know this, if you drink one glass of water before you are about to eat, most people decrease the amount of food they eat because water can fill you up. Okay, so we cut out the alcohol, we cut out the carbonateds, we cut out the grains, we cut out the sugars, we cut out the dairy, we cut out all these weakeners. And here we go, ready? The strengtheners. Okay, the number one thing you can do to make your metabolism Arnold Schwarzenegger strong is download our ebook. You know why? The whole program I'm going to talk to you about in the next, 28 minutes is exactly outlined for you right here. I'm talking the diet. I'm talking the supplements. I'm talking your guides. I'm talking everything in the ebook. It's all free. This is the last day you can get it. So here's the number, 704-906-2094. Does the book say diabetes heal thyself? Yes. What is diabetes? Metabolic syndrome. What is metabolic syndrome? Diabetes. What is high blood pressure? Metabolic syndrome. What is high cholesterol? Metabolic syndrome. What is the inability to lose weight? Metabolic syndrome. So you can solve this yourself when you just realize you more than likely have metabolic syndrome. And it is reversible, it is curable, but there is no pill. You're never going to see a commercial on TV going, hey, ask your doctor if you have metabolic syndrome and take Metabolic Syndrome. I just made it up. They're not going to do it because you can't. It's a lifestyle-induced condition, but they'll medicate your symptoms all you want. And they'll keep coming up with them. And they'll have injections for this and drops for that and pills for this. But the question is, do you want to then make your metabolism worse? Okay, number one, ready? I want to do a workout for my metabolism. Drum roll, please. Fast. Oh, I knew you knew that I was going to say that, right? Fasting is the greatest way to stimulate and strengthen your immunity, your metabolism, your weight loss, and to reset numbers inside your body. Look, here's the thing about today, all right? We have so much around and available that we can get food whenever we want. Like, it could be 3 a.m. and you could have a craving for whatever, and you can hop in your car and go to wherever, and it's there. It's just there. And they exchange your hard-earned bills for their fake food, and you feel good, and it satisfied your addiction craving. Notice, like, isn't it funny? Oh, I have a craving for foods. Yeah, it's the same thing that happens when people crave medications and drugs and things like that. So your levels for pleasure dropped. Your brain center of stimulation is going, I need something to keep me awake. And you go, oh, that's salty, sweet, whatever, right? And there's all these chemicals that also do that. No, they found out that MSGs and all the benzoates and all the stuff they put in food, they just heighten that stimulation, and they make you want their food more than another food if they can chemically flavor you, stimulate you the right way. So number one, to strengthen your immune system and your metabolism system and break metabolic syndrome is fast. Now, if you've never fasted before in your life, if you're someone who's been eating 8 meals a day every day, or 3 meals a day every day, let's just do this the easy way. It's called sun up, sundown fasting. And it's real simple. If the sun is up, don't eat. So generally right now, right, the sun's up around 6:45, 7 in the morning, and it sets around 6:45 or 7 at night, sometimes 8, 8:30, etc. It depends on where we are within the solstice of the year, right? Right now we're transitioning into fall, so eventually you're going to see the sun's going to start going down sooner. and you got more periods of dark. So this is a perfect time to start fasting because it's a smaller window of where you can eat. So you can eat, but you also can't eat, okay? So when the sun is up, then you start eating, and when the sun goes down, you stop eating. So it's pretty easy, right? So it's sun up to sundown. You can also invert it if you want, and when the sun comes up, you don't eat, and when the sun goes down, you do eat, okay? So the problem with that is you wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning, and you're craving some sort of food, and you're like, well, the sun isn't up yet, so I'm going to eat. That's not really designed like that. But just think of it as setting some sort of time frame. From 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., I'm not going to eat, so you're allowed to have breakfast and dinner. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, but that'd be for a beginner who's never done this in their life. Then you can start increasing the time frame and go from 12 hours to 16 or to 18 or to 20 and only just eat one meal. Maybe you only eat breakfast and you skip lunch and dinner. Or maybe you eat only dinner and you skip breakfast and lunch. Like, you get to pick what you want to do, and that's the joy of this. And then as you get more proficient in fasting, go the whole day from when you wake up to when you wake up. And then when you get even better, go 2 of those and 3 of those and 4 of those and 5 of those and 6 and 7 and so on and so forth. Okay, but it is the number one way. Fasting stimulates production of white blood cells, stem cells, flushing of toxins. I mean, you can't not enjoy the benefits of this, okay? You can regenerate your joints. You can regenerate your energy. You can flush out your kidneys. You can flush out your liver. Your colon will become squeaky clean when you stop putting food in. And guess what that does to your metabolism? Yeah, I'm getting strong, okay? Number 2, we can start taking a functional approach to your nutrition and say, all right, since we're not supposed to have all of the following, what would we eat in its replace? Instead of fake processed foods, let's eat real non-man-made foods. Okay, they're really easy to figure out. If they grow from the ground, a tree, or they're found in nature, and you don't have to do anything to it to eat it, go for it. Okay, this is your classic like nuts and seeds, fruits and vegetables, and clean proteins depending upon your desire to eat them, right? Fish, chicken, turkey, eggs, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so it's really not that hard. Real food. Okay, number 2, don't use anything artificial to flavor your food. Salt and pepper, fantastic. Splenda, stevia, sweet and low, sucralose, saccharins, all these fake sweeteners. Did you just say stevia is a fake sweetener? Well, the sweet leaf version, like the actual leaf that you chew on, yeah, go for it. But all these extracted ones, be careful. They add a lot of alcohol to them. They add a lot of chemicals to them. And unfortunately today, they add sugar to them. If you don't believe me, go grab a stevia packet, turn it over, and you'll actually see maltodextrin, sugar, dextrose, sugar, erythritol, sugar, alcohol. All right, so we got to get rid of this stuff. Diet sodas, carbonated beverages, water. Just drink water, for the love of God. Drink water. If you're addicted to carbonated beverages, carbonated water is okay. Just make sure it's mineralized so it's not super, just acidic. So we want the minerals, we want the dissolved solids, etc. All right. How do we get rid of these refined carbohydrates? Well, simple. You want to eat complex carbohydrates that are found in naturally occurring foods like vegetables and some fruits. But warning. If you have metabolic syndrome, full-on diagnostic, meaning you're taking a medication for elevated blood pressure, elevated cholesterol, elevated triglycerides, or whatever, you really do need to break your fruit addiction. Okay? Is fruit healthy? Sure. But if you're already diagnosed and taking medications, we don't want to do that. We want to really help your body to heal. So we focus on the following. Ready? High omega fat foods. Omega-3s are extremely anti-inflammatory, and they're typically found in nuts and seeds and fish. Okay, so wild-caught cold water fish have been found to help you decrease your metabolic syndromes by regulating your heart rates, reducing blood sugar and pressures, decreasing clots, reducing your risks for strokes, and all kinds of things. Omega-3 fatty acids also lower cholesterol. They lower triglycerides. So everything's elevated with metabolic syndrome, so we just lower it down. You can also find them in large quantities in flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts, macadamia nuts, Brazil nuts, and grass-fed beef products. So you got to be careful today, though. I was just having this conversation with a colleague. Grass-fed is no longer okay. And here's why. They now feed them corn for the last 90 days, but because 94.5% of their diet was on the farm eating grass, legally they're able to be labeled as grass-fed beef. But if the last 90 days is all corn-fed, they bulk up, they fat up, they get sick, and they're still labeled as grass-fed. So there's a new phrase that you guys need to pay attention to. Ready for this? Grass-finished. So watch this. That means they were raised on grass and they were slaughtered while eating grass. So out in the fields, not in some pen where they're fed corn and wheat and soy and rice and all those grains to bulk them up. So again, word of caution. Well, Dr. Ernst, I eat exclusively grass-fed beef. How can I still have high cholesterol? Yeah. You're probably eating grass-fed beef that is still corn-finished. Now, is it harder to find this stuff? Yes. But if you look around and you look hard enough, you'll find the labels will say grass-finished now. And, your local health food stores and even places like Publix and Harris Teeter, they do have grass-finished meats, but you're going to pay a slight premium, and some of you freak out about that. Vegetables, okay? Not fruits, but vegetables. It's been shown that the dark green leafies, okay, ready? Kale, spinach, broccoli, cabbage, carrots, avocados, all have the ability to fight various metabolic diseases, including diabetes and heart disease and cancer, etc., because they're loaded with what are called phytonutrients. And let me give you an example of this. One avocado has been shown to lower the rates of metabolic syndrome in individuals that have been diagnostic. The fats, the MUFAs, the monounsaturated fatty acids, and the PUFAs, the polyunsaturated fatty acids, actually help to lower cholesterol, sugars, triglycerides, and blood pressure. So the old phrase, who remembers this? Okay, maybe I'm dating myself. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Not anymore, because that apple's sprayed heavily with pesticides. It's coated with wax, dyed typically to make it look the color it needs to look, and it's full of sugar. Okay, your average apple's 40 to 50 grams of carbohydrates. That's a lot, just so you know, in one sitting. So eat this apple. Here comes metabolic syndrome, and here comes your MD. So today, it's an apple a day will give you metabolic disease, and you'll be best friends with your MD. What it should be is an avocado a day keeps the doctor away and activates your self-healing. So I challenge you, 30 avocados over the next 30 days. So you guys have no problems eating 30 apples over the next 30 days. But an avocado is mushy and I don't like the way it tastes. Okay, get over that. It's healthy for you. Really, really healthy. Heart health, hormone health, metabolic health. Okay, so we want to eat fatty, plant-based foods. So nuts and seeds, avocados, coconut products, walnuts, macadamia nuts, Brazil nuts, vegetables that are green and leafy and dark, and all of our healthy omega foods. Those are your fish and your beef and your nuts and seeds. And bam, right? Okay, what if we want to go even further and we want to say, let's come up with an alternative to some of the medications you're taking. Now, disclaimer. Am I saying stop your meds 100% and switch to these? Nope, not at all. Okay, you have to have a conversation with your prescribing physician if you're even going to shift or change medications, okay? And that's not just a disclaimer, it's common sense, okay? They always have those things. Make sure that you consult your physician before embarking on any new health journey. I mean, there's truth to that. But if your physician is someone like you and you learn how to, I'll call it, educate yourself behind the underlying root cause, and you want to change your diet, and your blood pressure gets better, and you need to now lower your medications, well, that was you, and you did that, and good for you. That's the way it should be. So let's go through some research here. If you're going to start supplementing your diet to help you decrease your metabolic syndrome, ginseng, berberine, and something called bitter melon have been shown to significantly help with metabolic syndrome. And here's why. Bitter melon is kind of like looks almost like a cucumber, but it's got lots of thorny spikes and stuff on it. So most people don't eat them directly. But the extracts of bitter melon have been shown to lower blood sugar almost the same as if you're taking a medication. Berberine does something similar for blood pressure, and ginseng is a major anti-inflammatory that can help to decrease the swelling within your body. In Chinese medicine, those 3 or 4 blended together would be known as a adaptogenic metabolic herb, meaning they help your metabolism to adapt to the stressors that you're placing on it every day. Okay, what were those again? Well, guess what? You missed it. Just kidding. They're in the ebook. They're all listed for you. You just need to download this. And look, I encourage you. This is the last day I'm giving this book away for free. 704-906-2094. That's 704-906-2094. Call it or text now with your name and your email. Okay, if we are going to focus on a fruit, I'm going to say there's only one, and it's probably not one you eat regularly. It's pomegranate. Okay, research has been shown, listen to this, in the Food and Nutrition Journal, hypoglycemic effects of pomegranate seeds are known, and it inhibits alpha glucosidase, which will help to transport sugars and cholesterols through your metabolism better. It improves blood lipid profiles, meaning it helps cholesterol and triglycerides to drop. It's also an anti-inflammatory through the modulation of something called a peroxisome proliferated activated receptor. Blah, 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 to say pomegranates can clean out your arteries. Now, it's the seeds that were found to have the effect. So before you go run off and say, yoo-hoo, Dr. Ernst said I can drink the palm straight 100% extracted pomegranate juice. That's not what I said. It's the seeds that do this. So you bust those pomegranates open and you got to chew and swallow the seeds. But guess what? That's where most of the fruit is anyway, and the juice. But don't just juice it and drink it. That's really bad because, it's like, 12 or 50 pomegranates in a juice. And good luck trying to eat 12 pomegranates. First of all, they take forever. Second of all, they're messy. Third of all, most people would give up after eating just half of one. But go for the seeds. The seeds have been shown to help you regulate your metabolism and strengthen it. Okay, so we have the supplements we talked about, ginseng, bitter melon, berberine. What about another one? Okay, the Department of Home Sciences published in India the effects of holy basil on lowering both serum cholesterol, that's like your blood cholesterols, right? LDLs, HDLs, etc., and glucose, so much so they did a double-blinded human trial. Now listen to this. This is fascinating. Holy basil caused significant improvements in glucose control and cholesterol control such that it could replace both medications for cholesterol and blood sugar. This suggests that the basil supplementation can be a useful and safe way to help diabetics and those with high cholesterol control their symptoms and regulate metabolic syndrome. Word for word, read right to you. Okay, spirulina. This is a big one. It technically has something called phycocyanin, if I'm pronouncing this right. It's a pigment that scientists have discovered possesses an antihypertensive effect, meaning it can lower your blood pressure. Did you know that in Japan, the consumption of this microgreen blue-green algae has been shown to directly enhance the reason why they're some of the thinnest and healthiest people on the planet? Spirulina is a classic portion of their diets. Now, real quick, how many of you have had spirulina in the last 5 days? Yeah, I thought so. How about the last 5 months? 5 years? Some of you didn't even know what it is. It is a microgreen algae that you can get in a powdered or pressed pill form that you stir into water and drink, or you just swallow the tablets. Spirulina is an exceptional detoxifier They claim you can live your whole life off of it. It has enough amino acids, essential nutrients, and enzymes to keep you alive. And it also has the ability to lower your blood pressure. So remember, metabolic syndrome is elevated blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, and or weight, at least 3. So if you're sitting here today going, well, I have 3 of those. I could lose 20 pounds. My pressure's high and my sugar's high. There it is. And can you use spirulina, holy basil, ginseng, berberine, bitter melon extracts to help? Sure. But remember, don't supplement the bad diets, okay? Well, I still eat McDonald's 3 times a day and I just take my holy basil to help me. No. Don't use supplements as a medication. They should supplement your new diet. Another one that helps really well is maca root. And here's why. Maca root stimulates glutathione production. A lot of people take glutathione inappropriately. You swallow it because you're taking a glutathione supplement and you're like, yes, I'm cleaning my liver out. And then your stomach goes, no, you're not, because glutathione is broken down into individual components once it's in the stomach. The only way to get the full real benefits of glutathione is to inject it. Like, just kidding. But people don't usually do that. So instead, you have to help your body to make the glutathione. And that's where maca root comes in handy. Not only that, it helps to boost your immune system. It helps to fight flu viruses and other viruses. And it's been shown to lower cholesterol, lower blood sugars, and lower blood pressure. So you can't go wrong. Maca root is kind of a slightly bitter root. So some people stir it into water and drink it direct. Some people put it in smoothies and try to hide it. No matter how you do it, though, get it. Maca root is fantastic. Let's talk about some vitamins that most people are deficient in anyway. And technically, this one's not a vitamin. It's actually a hormone, and it's vitamin D3. There are different Ds, so you got to be careful. D2 is inactive. D1 is really inactive, and D3 is the one you want. But even with D3, they're sulfonated and non-sulfonated. Now, what you're buying is generally unsulfonated D2 or 3. And if it says D3, it's generally unsulfonated. But your body needs to sulfonate it. It has to add a sulfur group to it. This is why eating garlic and onions and all this sort of sulfur foods, right? Cauliflowers and broccolis are also great because it helps to pull the vitamin D that you eat in. There's a gathering amount of evidence that suggests low levels of vitamin D, meaning under 50, has a massive impact on strokes and cardiovascular disease and diabetes and metabolic syndrome. So if your D3 levels are under 50, you should wake up and A, start taking it, and B, start recognizing that you need to make it on your own. Of course, we can get it from sunlight exposure, but the problem here in the Carolinas is though we're a sunny state, it's only during that solstice period where there's enough UVB above the sun belt, which does exist, by the way. If you want to Google it, go ahead. The sun belt. It's the zone of the U.S. that is always in a good vitamin D range. And unfortunately, it's south of South Carolina. So if you're in South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, etc., Georgia's going to get a decent amount, but South Carolina and North Carolina, we start losing the UVB as we go into the winter terms. So when we get into October and you're like, oh man, it was a perfect fall day, 73 degrees and sunny, I got a lot of vitamin D. No, you didn't, because we're above the sun belt. So it's got to be in the summertime in the sun belt. Okay. But if it's the winter time and you're in the sun belt, you got a problem if you're above the sun belt. Okay, and we are above the sun belt. Take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. Take vitamin D3. CoQ10 is another one that plays a huge role in your metabolism because it is the stimulator of your mitochondria. You cannot burn fats, proteins, and carbs without CoQ10. It's also known as an antioxidant enzyme. Here's what's so cool. See, vitamin D3 is not really a vitamin, it's a hormone. CoQ10 is not really a vitamin, it's an enzyme. And it helps with antioxidation. And if you want your heart healthy, if you want your mitochondria strong, if you want to burn fat like a fiend, you have to have, can't live without it, CoQ10. Here's a short list of some more. And again, where is all this stuff? Okay, well, it's in the ebook. So if you're like, oh my God, you're going too fast and I need to write it all down. No, you don't. Download the ebook. It's free right now. And everything I'm mentioning to you is in here. You can get it by calling 704-906-2094. That's 704-906-2094. Or you can text your name and your email now. The phones are ringing. I can see them. 704-906-2094. Text your name and your email. Bam, it's yours. And next Saturday, the 17th at 10 a.m., I'm hosting a live webinar where I'll come right into your house. Hello, hello. And I'll say, here we go. Let's solve this thing called metabolic syndrome. I'll take you step by step through the testing, through the protocols, the guides. It's literally like I'm just going to walk you through what to do. And that is also free, 704-906-2094. Okay, curcumin, great. Milk thistle, even better. Resveratrol, love it. Vitamin C, good to do. So there's the short list of some others on top of that. Hey, we've got about 4 minutes left, so I'm going to open up some Q&A on our screens. There is the Facebook guys. Hey, Facebook. And over here is YouTube. Hey, YouTubers. If you have a question, now's your time. Use the comments, use the chats, ask away. It's called Ask Dr. Ernst for a reason. You get to ask a health question. We get to answer it with a holistic, natural perspective. And why don't we do this now, considering we've only got about 3 minutes left for our show? In summary, metabolic syndrome. Number one, you got it, okay? Just wake up to the reality of it. Even our kids today have it. They're finding it in children as low and young as 5 and 6 and 7. There was a study once where they said the average teenager already has clogging arteries in their hearts, but they can't feel it. That's metabolic syndrome, okay? How do we know if we have metabolic syndrome? Do you have 3 or more of any of the following? Weight you need to lose, pressure that's too high, sugars that's too high, cholesterol that's too high, triglycerides that's too high, and a medication you swallow for anything. If you have 3 of those, you've got metabolic syndrome. How do we solve this? Well, number one, download the ebook. It's free. 704-906-2094. Call now or text your name and email, and you get it for free. We have to stop eating the junk that weakens our metabolism. Okay? It's not like the more you eat, the stronger your gut gets. No, it's the opposite. The more you eat, the weaker your intestines, the weaker your metabolism gets, and the sicker you are. So we cut out the fake foods, we cut out the processed ingredients, we cut out the fake sugars, we get rid of the alcohol, and we let our body just thrive and survive. We fast. That's the break, right? You see it? Give your metabolism a break. It'll heal by itself. It'll get Arnold Schwarzenegger strong if you stop eating food. And then when you do eat, we need it to be the healthy foods, right? Real food. It's high in omega fatty acids, high in nutrients, things like nuts and seeds, and use the herbs and the vitamins, the minerals I mentioned to you today. And it just takes time. Now, here's what's really cool. 2 weeks, guys. That's all it takes. 2 weeks. You can radically transform your health in 14 days if you follow all of the programs and the guides that are free. We got a minute 44. I can see the commercials starting to come up in the next show. Diabetes, heal thyself. It should say metabolic syndrome, heal thyself. It should say patient, heal thyself. It should say you, heal thyself. 704-906-2094. Again, that's 704-906-2094. Call now, text your name and your email now, because in exactly 1 minute and 16 seconds, adios, you'll have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. This is the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. My name is Dr. Aaron Ernst. Thank you for tuning in. I know it's a little later than normal because of the football game. Hurrah! But next week, we're back regular time, 12 noon, streaming right here. Fox Sports Charlotte, foxsportscharlotte.com. And don't forget to check out some of the sister stations, right? 104.7, 101.9. We're streaming live on all of those at the same time. And remember, subscribe. If you're on YouTube and you're on the Ask Dr. Ernst channel, click subscribe. If you're on our Facebook feed, man, hit like. You know what that does? It connects you so you see our shows every week. We simulcast, we stream, and we teach and educate because the goal is you should heal yourself. Here's a little secret for the last 20 seconds. I know how to heal you. Do you? I know what you need to do. Do you? And if you do what you need to do, you're going to heal. It's that simple. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope you found today to be fun, informative, and helpful. And I'll see you next week, 12 noon, right here, Fox Sports Charlotte. Don't forget. Until then, be blessed. Adios.